The Joe Rogan Experience.
He credits talking to you and taking your advice as completely changing his life, and now he feels infinitely better.
Yeah. I mean, he did a lot of the work himself.
Well, he had to, but you had to tell him what to do, but luckily he listened.
Yeah. I mean, I think giving him a life expectancy just kind of validated it for him. It just really put it in his face. And, you know, because that's something you can calculate. He's like, okay, well, I'm 53 now. 63 doesn't seem that far off.
Right.
You know,
a lot of like high stress individuals that don't take care of themselves, their ticker checks out.
Yeah.
Around 65, 67. That's pretty standard.
It just takes its toll. I mean, and the funny thing is, you know, when you go back and you look at the pictures of him prior to.
Oh, yeah.
He does kind of look like he was about to pop, you know.
It's not good. Yeah, he had a big old moon face, and he was, you know,
the veins up on the forehead and the veins out of the side of the neck.
Thick. What was like? First of all, how did he meet you? How did this come about? And like, how did the conversation start?
So we have a mutual friend named Carrie Kasem. If you remember Casey Kasem,
yeah, I know
Weekly
Carrie.
Top
I
40.
worked with her back in the day in the early UFCs.
Okay, so you know, I recently met Carrie, and she had kind of a life-changing experience as well. You know, if you know anything about her journey with Lyme disease and chronic viral infection, I mean, she really struggled and ended up healing herself. And she took the same test that Dana White did. It was life-changing for her. And she was like,
what is this test?
It's a genetic test. It looks at genetic methylation pathways. So
methylation pathways?
Methylation pathways.
What's that word mean?
So think about it like this. You know, we pull crude oil out of the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't put crude oil into your gas tank, right? Because the car doesn't understand that fuel source. So what happens is crude oil has to be refined into gasoline, and then the car can run. Okay, so in human beings, there's a similar process called methylation. There's not a single compound known to mankind, not one. There's no vitamin, no mineral, no amino acid, no nutrient, no protein, no nutrient of any kind that enters the human body and is used in the format that we put it in. Without a single exception, everything we put into our bodies has to be refined into the usable form. If you can't make this conversion, you have a deficiency. It's this deficiency that leads to the most common ailments that we suffer from. So that process is called methylation, and there are several genes that govern it. This is where a lot of the misconception about genetically inherited disease comes from. Right? We'll say, well, Joe, you know, your father-in-law has, not your father-in-law, your father on your mom's side had hypertension, your grandfather had hypertension, now you have hypertension. So you have genetically inherited hypertension, or you have familial hypertension. Well,
and hypertension is commonly known as high blood pressure. Is that
high blood pressure. Yeah, high blood pressure. But 85% of all high blood pressure is what we call idiopathic, right? It's of unknown origin. So we say that things are genetically inherited because they run in families, but it's rarely the disease that's passed from generation to generation. What we pass from generation to generation is the inability to refine a raw material, which causes a deficiency, which leads to that disease.
And what generally leads to hypertension?
So if you look at a Dana White's case, right, is a perfectly common case. In fact, the Journal of Hypertension published an article in November 19th of 2017, if you want to look that article up, and essentially linking an amino acid in the bloodstream called homocysteine to hypertension.